Say, we did have a question that got shot to me that I shot you through Skype, so if you could just give me a quick answer on that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it is okay for people to be streaming. It is in the rules. What you can't do is you can't stream the finals.
Okay. That's what I was checking. Alright, thank you very much. There was some questions that some people were shooting me. Alright, so after that last game, what do you think the teams are going to be doing to compensate in this game? We do have the Maokai ban coming out again, so kind of curious to see how these teams are going to try and adjust, though, after that last game.
I think Curse wants to ban Kog'Maw. Actually, since Curse does have first pick, they didn't have to ban Kog'Maw, because keep in mind, Nijaki is the original AP mid Kog'Maw, so CLG does know this. So the problem that stemmed from CLG's team comp was Kog'Maw, so since Curse didn't have to ban it, they could have first picked it, and CLG recognized that as well, so they figured we don't need to ban Kog'Maw and have CLG ban it instead.
We do have that Twisted Fate ban coming out again, as well as the Shen ban. So the Twisted Fate ban I find to be pretty interesting. I mean, he is a really strong champion, a really strong AP mid, and with his ability to move around the map and exert a lot of pressure that way. But then we do have the Janna ban as well. So I'm just curious what kind of team comps these champions might be messing with that would prompt these bans.
Basically, Kog'Maw, it was obvious because Jackie plays a mean Kog'Maw as well. Twisted Fate would be more for Gigi, because Gigi's a mean Twisted Fate player. And just Chowster has been playing a lot of Janna. He's performing really well with Janna. So just those three bans are pretty obvious as to why. And Urgot, I have seen comp playing Urgot a little bit lately. It's probably more of I don't want to deal with team Urgot for my team comp, because a lot of times when you have a team comp set in mind, like CLG had last game, they ban champions that they think would counter that team comp. So it's more so Janna, Kog'Maw, TF, targeted at players, whereas the rest is I don't want to deal with these champions.
Yeah, especially that Urgot pick would have been really deadly against CLG's composition last game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if all of a sudden your Kog'Maw or your Janna is completely out of position on the wrong side of the fight, you're going to lose that fight very quickly. So
yeah,
that Urgot is actually a very smart pick in that situation. And we do have Curse going with that Kennen again.
Mm-hmm. You know, Curse's team comp was pretty good against a lot of team comps. Just they weren't able to get those good engage on. I think the game that, or the team fight that put them far behind where they couldn't do anything was when Kennen rushed into middle, used his ultimate on a single player, and then he was able to lightning rush to a second one. But really, he was unable to just get any real stun, any real damage or CC onto CLG. And also that engage prompted his entire team to unload their ultimate as well. So it was this really, really poorly placed combination of Curse's ultimate in that mid fight, and that put all their cooldowns or all their ultimates on cooldown, and CLG saw that and they were able to push from outer tower all the way until in-hit tower, and from that CLG just got a really big lead.
Yeah, and sort of after that it was sort of history. We do see that there's the Nocturne pick coming out. You know, that is one of the champions you'd mentioned that Hotshot's been playing. So we might be getting to see, you know, sort of the fruits of his labor here.
Yeah.
As he's going to be able to demonstrate his Nocturne play. And we do have Corki picked up for CLG this time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Graves is going to be going to Curse. And we do have that Nocturne pickup. The first ban Nocturne, not Nocturne, Nautilus, is going to get picked up here for Curse, actually, this time.
So I think one of the bans last game was Nautilus. CLG
that was the first ban that came out from CLG.
So
was Nautilus.
Yeah, this time they had to ban Kog'Maw because they didn't want to see Nijaki on Kog'Maw. So that actually left open Nautilus. So I think these teams know each other a little bit better than I do. So definitely that would leave Nautilus open this time. So Saint Vicious is going to be able to pick up Nautilus.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna be looking out for that Nautilus action right there, just because if they did feel like it was worth banning out, I'd like to see what they felt was the threat. I'd like to see that bannable
Hmm.
action coming out right now. We do have a potential Alistar and a potential Ahri pick. We do have the Alistar locked in. Alistar is really strong in a variety of ways, though he's going to be the support Alistar this time because we've got that Nocturne pick. That's still a really strong lane with Alistar and Corki
Hmm.
running duo there.
It's
We
a
do have
lot
that.
of damage. I think if it's anybody against Alistar Corki, Graves would do fine. Just because he's naturally very tanky. He can clear waves relatively easy, and he doesn't really have to. And if he does get engaged on, he can use his jump and just escape. It's not a super long jump, but that's enough to create a little bit of distance so he can get back to tower. So you combine the jump with the flash. Graves is relatively safe bottom lane. And
Yeah,
just
and
to
I'm going to be curious to see who they're picking up for their support. I don't know if they're going to be trying to run the Nautilus support or Nautilus top here. Um, so and sort of until we know that, it's going to be really hard to say.
Mhm.
There's a potential Taric coming out. Taric Graves is one of the most lethal lanes in the game.
Mhm.
The combination armor makes Graves able to trade with just total impunity, which I would not be surprised to see that. I think that's one of the best choices they could be making right here.
You have the armor aura from Taric. You have the passive from Graves. So Graves is definitely going to have a lot of armor to protect against Corki. However, in terms of Corki damage on Graves and Taric, a good portion of Corki's damage is true damage, and a good portion of that is also magic damage. So, you know, Corki is still going to be able to dish out a lot of damage against Taric Graves. Taric Graves is a lot better against a traditional like Ashe or a Caitlyn or Vayne bottom. So both team does have kill potential on each other. I see this more as if they're gonna kill anybody, they have to kill Chouster early. Um, but if Chouster gets to level 6, it's gonna be very hard to kill. Just because if they're gonna throw a stun onto Corki and Graves wants to dash in and do the buckshot, smokescreen, and right click combo, you're gonna see Alistar just say, "Nope, I'm gonna headbutt you back, and you're not gonna deal any damage." So is relatively safe for Corki as well. With that Valkyrie, with the headbutt, he's going to be able to get away almost every time.
Yeah, the one trick that I'm going to be keeping my eyes for is going to be just the fact that Graves will be able to make those trades moderately aggressively, just because I feel like the Taric heal is a little bit stronger, especially early on, than the Alistar heal,
Hmm.
and sort of mitigating all of that damage that'll be dealt out. But I feel like both lanes are really strong. I've seen Graves Taric be good. I've experienced Graves Taric be good,
Hmm.
and I'm going to lean a little bit to that right now.
All right, so before this game starts, I just want to give another shout out to our sponsors. I want to give it out to them at least twice per match. So if you go to solomid.net/contest, we are holding a contest. We're sponsored by Razor Gunners, Kingston HyperX, Playhem, and Twitch TV. If you just go to their Twitter and follow them on Twitter, like them on Facebook, on any of their walls, if you type in "Thanks for supporting Solomid.net and League of Legends," you'll be entered into a contest to win either a Kingston HyperX SSD or one of two Kingston HyperX RAM kit, and it comes with a HyperX fan too, or one of four Razer Naga Hex, and finally one of three Gunner eyewear. So there's a lot of chances to win prizes for everybody. I think last week we gave away, or 2 weeks ago we gave away 8 prizes. Only 5 of them has been claimed. So I'll post up who won last week that didn't claim it, so you can come forward and claim that as well. Um, and really quick, I'm gonna go into a commercial break because we are on 30-minute or 3-minute delay, and I got a little bit of time until the next one.
All right.
It's not good, man. I think I'm on my second Red Bull. I'm gonna die. I think if I keep this up, I'm gonna die, like really. Like I drank 8 Red Bulls for the European tournament, and I was breathing. I'm like, I can't breathe.
That does not sound healthy. You may need to look into alternatives. I've tried
I'm
to
just kidding.
get myself on water. I use water to power me through.
The thing is I have really bad sleeping habits. You know, I'm never really energized for these, and I need to get my act together if I'm gonna be casting Anaheim. Um, Especially because there's gonna be a camera on me the entire time. So definitely, I'm gonna practice good habits for E3 in Anaheim. Um, so for those who have ad blockers, shout out to MLG. They are bringing me in to cast some of their games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at MLG Anaheim. And I am addicted to Red Bull. They're really good. They energize me. If I'm drinking it casually, I don't really die. It's just that when I drink too much, you know, it's just really nothing to excess. And nothing to excess. That's the key.
Yeah, I mean, just keep yourself in balance with, you know, not drinking too much of anything too much. You know, if I drank the amount of water that I have available, I would probably die too.
That's
So
true,
I'll
huh?
try not to. I say I have like a limited like 3-gallon pitcher of water right here that I'm gonna try not to drink the whole thing. But that's how I keep my throat and my voice from kind of just shriveling up into this horrible trundle voice. So
I think about like 5 or 6 years ago, my local radio station held a contest on whoever can drink like a gallon of water wins a Wii, and somebody drank a gallon of water and died. That's how that goes to show you can die from anything.
yeah, I mean, there was someone who died because they tried not to use the restroom for a contest to get a Wii, because it seems to be kind of like how everyone made contests about the Wii, and their bladder exploded. So
So
that's
my
pretty sick.
client
All right,
is.
we are in.
All right, there you go.
All right, we are in game.
We are in game. Let's just talk a little bit about the team comp. You know, you have CLG with Nocturne, Irelia, Alistar, Ahri, and Corki. Voyboy did exceptional with Irelia last game. He did lose the early game fight, but he was able to come back very, very strong and pretty much take on anybody on Curse 101. So, you know, you look at the matchup, Irelia versus Nautilus, she's going to be able to take him out. Irelia versus Kennen, Irelia's going to be able to zone him out. Irelia versus Ryze, actually Ryze has the advantage in this matchup just because Ryze generally get a Frozen Heart, and with the Frozen Heart, Irelia is not going to be able to get a lot of right clicks off, not going to heal as much as well, and with the Rune Prison, he's going to be able to stop Irelia in her track, so I only see Ryze being a problem for Irelia, so in terms of most of the comp, Irelia is going to do really well. You look at Alistar versus Graves, Taric, Alistar, Corki. Both team has a lot of damage potential on each other. Definitely, I'd give the potential to CLG after level 6 because really their only target is Alistar, and they're not going to be able to kill Alistar once he hits level 6. Mid is going to be Ahri versus Ryze. Ahri is going to do pretty well against Ryze generally. Because Ahri's going to be able to push on Ryze. Ryze doesn't really have a wave clear until level 6, so pre-level 6, Ahri's got an advantage. Post-level 6, Ahri's got higher kill potential, but it's going to come to a point where Ahri's not going to be able to do anything to Ryze as well. If Ryze gets to that 30-40 minute build with the Banshee, with the Frozen Heart, with the Archangel, and or Rod of Ages, so he's going to get relatively tanky with a lot of HP and a lot of resist. You let the Ryze get to that point, it's going to be just one freaking mean Ryze.
Yeah, and say, you know, Ahri has a little bit of true damage, but not enough to punch through all of the stuff that he's going to be carrying at that point in the game.
How do you you pull up the stats for a player when you're spectating?
You mean their statistics?
Yeah.
Click on the champion you want, and then you're going to go ahead and hit C. Going to pull it all up for you.
Alright, nice. Thanks. I actually never figured that out. It's learn something new every day. So
There you
actually,
go.
if you look at the Kennen versus Irelia matchup up top, Kennen has advantage early game just because he's ranged. He's going to be able to get those lightning procs off from his passive and chain his E over and over onto Irelia. So he's going to have a lot of poke onto Irelia. But, you know, like I said, once Irelia gets to that point where she gets her wit's end, she's going to have a lot of MR, and Kennen's not going to have an answer for that. And he's just going to basically die over and over to Irelia. So the matchup up top is if Kennen is able to deny and kill Irelia and delay her from getting to the point where he can sustain, Kennen's going to win mid and late game. If he's unable to, Irelia's going to win.
So we do have a First blood getting picked up in the bottom lane. Do we want to go ahead and back and catch that?
I actually caught that. It was just a really, really good play by Curse, you know. Taric's able to lay out a stun and a shatter with the Curse, with Graves' dash forward buckshot right click, and that was a lot of damage. And then Saint Vicious actually went forward and landed a hook as well, and that he actually flashed forward to land the hook, and it pulled him back, and then just a lot of damage out onto Alistar. And like I said, if they're gonna kill anybody early game, it's gotta be Alistar. There's just too much protection for Corki in the back. With flash, with the headbutt, he's gonna get away every time. So it's a really good choice to go for Alistar the first time around.
Yeah, and that is gonna put Alistar behind here in the bottom lane, which is gonna make him an easier target as this goes on. You know, the longer it takes for him to hit 6, the more chances they have to, you know, pick up those kills.
So my Spectre mode actually bugged out again. The time is still going forward. I'm gonna wait a little bit and see if it catches back up, or if I have to restart the client.
Okay, we do have Nautilus waiting in the bushes for a gank here on Corki and Alistar. He is absolutely just gonna sit here and, you know, take his time, wait for that to happen the moment that they push out. So is your client corrected, or you're gonna have to restart, you think?
I'm just gonna reconnect.
So Nautilus did finally lose patience and throw the hook. Did miss, however, so he's going to have to just go ahead and back away.
I think this is the second time I froze at 420 exactly. I think Ryze's trolling me on purpose.
Alright, we do have Irelia jumping in on top of Kennen up here, as well as Nocturne. Nocturne flashing in to try and land his Fear Tether, not able to actually get Kennen. Kennen did flash out of it. So that was a total of, you know, the flash from the jungler and the flash from the laner both getting burned there. So I think that's a little bit of an advantage to CLG, just because, you know, the laner's flash is more important in terms of getting out of the gank. But still, I mean, kind of an even trade, all things considered.
So PvP.net's not responding to me. I'm just gonna close the client and reconnect.
Alright, we do see that Saint Vicious just picked up another kill on Alistar in the bottom lane. Coming in from the side with a Nautilus gank, really well placed there. The stun from Taric, you know, gives him a clear, easy shot to land that dredge line. And that's so much crowd control that Alistar just can't get out of it. And Graves was able to just hammer him down.
Oh, I got a patch for some reason. That was weird.
That's really weird.
That's probably why it's been crashing. I don't even know.
I'd say we had elements coming up to the mid lane with that Taric stun onto Ahri, doing a bit of damage, letting Ryze land that Rune Prison, do some more. However, Ahri is going to go ahead and throw down a ward to try and protect against that in the future. She had to burn her flash to escape, but again, no death there. So that worked out nicely for her. And Ryze did burn his flash to close. So again, an even trade there. And at the moment, with those 2 kills from Alistar, there is a 1.2 thousand gold lead for Curse right now.
I'm getting a server is busy error. Right, does not want to respond to me.
I am sorry about that. That is unfortunate.
Yeah. I know it's not my internet because I'm still streaming. And I am still on Skype.
So I have no answers for that.
Alright, I'm back in.
Alright, good.
I'm definitely not getting DDoS, but hopefully this is the last time it happens, because oh my god, my head's hurting. Alright, so I am back in. I'm at 7:12. I'm about 3 minutes missing in action, but let's look at the score. It's 2-0 in terms of in favor of Curse. Curse has 2 kills. I think I missed 1 during the time I was disconnected, and we are back in the game. I'm not sure, did they do anything with Dragon, or is it still up? It looks like it's still up.
It is still up.
So
we do have Nocturne getting caught at the blue. However, Ahri's going to jump in, do a lot of damage here. Nocturne's going to get melted right down as Irelia shows up for the fight. That is the first kill for CLG. They're chasing Kennen back to lane. Going to try and land this charm from Ahri. Nope, looks like she's going to have to just let him go there. No, wasn't able to get the charm, lined up for a good shot there.
So CLG is able to counter this blue, and that's a very, very good pickup for CLG because as Ryze, having that blue buff is going to allow him to farm really well and just unleash a lot of damage because he's a cooldown dependent champion. And the way cooldown works is each additional cooldown percentage increases his damage more than 1%. So if you get 1% in cooldown, the first one is going to increase your damage by 1%. The second one is going to increase it by like 1.1. Or, I mean, if you're at 2%, it's going to be like 2.2, 3% is going to be like at 3.5, so it increases exponentially up to about 40%.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Ryze, because he really is the closest thing you're going to get to a wizard Gatling gun. Just with the speed at which he's able to just rattle off those spells.
Yeah, he's one of those champions where you get 40% CDR relatively easy.
We do have Nocturne jumping in up top, on top of Kennen, trying to chase under the turret, landing the Fear Tether. Irelia is going to swap out with him, unload with that Equilibrium Strike. Going to have to flash away, though, barely surviving. One more turret hit and she was down, so Kennen is going to survive that. And looks like Voyboy and Hotshot a little bit overestimated the damage they could do. In the bottom lane, however, we've got Nautilus picking up a kill on Corki. A really well-timed gank there. They're also unloading on top of Alistar, doing a massive amount of damage. Looks like Alistar is going to survive this, just barely, by the very smallest amount. Ahri trying to come in from the side, not able to finish up that. And St. Vicious will pick up the kill. Ahri will also fall as well to Ryze. So, the entire mid lane and junglers kind of rotated down here to the bottom, and unfortunately that did not go very well for CLG right there. Ahri tried to help.
That was a very good play by Saint, but he wasn't in line for the dredge line onto Alistar, so he flashed out of the creep wave and he was able to throw that hook onto Alistar, pull him back and pick up the kill. So just a very, very good hook by St. Vicious onto bottom lane. So you do see a lot of pressure on bottom lane. They are significantly behind, so if you expect a lot of action, it's going to be mostly on bottom lane. It is coming from Curse, just because they know that bottom lane is just so far ahead that they can press that advantage there. So there's going to be a lot of action bottom lane until that tower drops, until they want to start rotating around, apply pressure elsewhere.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and point out right now that this top lane is becoming more and more difficult for Kennen. Irelia is reaching that point where she's got a little bit of that, MR, and she's hitting the, level 8, level 9, where her Heaton style is providing a lot of lifesteal. And with that high 10 style, she's able to do not only a lot of damage, but she's suddenly extremely sustainable in this lane.
And she's at that point where she can go back to base and just single buy her Wit's End. And if she does choose to buy that Wit's End, she's going to be able to chase down Kennen just indefinitely and not really take any sort of damage when Kennen turns on her. So if Kennen chooses to fight at this point against Irelia, Irelia is just going to decimate Kennen.
And she did go ahead and pick up that Wit's End, as you were expecting. So we do have the Wit's End on Irelia. She's, also picked up some wards, so she's going to, make sure that she's going to be avoiding getting those ganks. Kennen has warded his river bush as well. And because we've seen a lot of action from Nocturne here in this top lane, but St. Vicious has mostly been focused on the bottom, picking up these kills off of Alistar.
Basically, he's focusing on bottom because he was able to pick up that early kill on bottom, and that set CLG behind far enough where just ganking the same lane over and over just makes it so much easier. Each time you are successful in killing somebody in a lane, the next time you come back, they're gonna be weaker, you're gonna be stronger. So it's just, there's two factors in terms of converting the next gank, right? They're just significantly weaker, you're significantly stronger, so the conversion rate is so much higher.
Yeah, and especially with this bottom lane, they've already got a very clear method that's working for them, where they've got this deadly crowd control combination between Taric's stun and then the Nautilus dredge line. The nice thing about that stun dredge line combination is that the dredge line's only drawback is that sometimes you can't land it, but when Taric's got them stunned, you will land that dredge line.
And really, Saint was able to just flash out of the creep's way and land 2 dredge lines so far in bottom lane. So that's after Alistar had already popped his ult. So it's very, very unexpected because you don't often see a Nautilus flash for a dreadline.
So we're seeing it today, and it's proving to be pretty lethal. So I think we might understand a little bit of why they wanted this Nautilus banned out, because this Nautilus has had an absolutely devastating effect on the bottom lane. There have been 5 kills, and he's been involved in all 5 of them.
Exactly. Nautilus is definitely making a very, very big plays this game, and he is probably...
He's about to jump in on top. Kennen popping his ultimate, trying to stop this. Hot shot is going to follow through, taking a lot of damage from that turret. However, with Voyboy, they do pick up that kill on Kennen really easily there. You know, Irelia just unloading all of that damage and just kind of just tanking everything that Kennen threw at her as if it didn't even matter.
So, like, one thing I want to point out is you see Nocturne ulting, and then at the same time, there's a low hit point creep. Irelia is able to dash onto it, kill it, reset her dash again, and dash onto Kennen. So it's just good timing for both Nocturne and Irelia on converting for that kill. They're able to, or Voyboy was able to time that and close a huge distance that he wouldn't be able to otherwise. And just good coordination, good play by both Nocturne and Irelia on top lane for getting that kill.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really nicely timed gank. When I saw Nocturne making the ultimate, I was like, oh no, Irelia's behind, and she just closed that distance. So, I mean, that is the power of any skill with a reset, is, you know, there's a lot of room for a skillful player to make the most of it. And we do have all of the lanes are kind of resetting a little bit here. You know, if we compare the farm right now, you know, we can see that Kennen is losing out a little bit to Irelia. He is behind by about 10, give or take, you know, as the waves come through. So he is having a little bit of a disadvantage. However, Graves is a little behind in farm to Corki right now. Even though they've been getting all of these kills, Corki has been farming extremely well.
Yeah, just Kennen's at the point where he can't lane against Irelia. Irelia is freezing the lane in front of her tower, so Kennen can't go up. If Kennen goes up too far, anywhere past this line I'm making right here, Irelia is going to be able to just chase him down indefinitely, and he's going to be in just a world of pain. So Kennen saw that Irelia was freezing lane, so he actually went and left it to go mid and potentially try and secure Dragon. And as soon as Voyboy saw that, he's pushing the lane and trying to get it to tower as soon as possible to deny Kennen that creep, so he can't go back in time and get it.
And we do have Voyboy moving into these bushes to try and ambush Kennen if he comes straight up the river.
So
right now we do see...
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
So I was going to point out that we do see that in the mid right now, Ryze is finally reaching that point where he's able to farm a little bit ahead of Ahri. So, you know, Ryze made it through his early game where he was going to get pushed on really well, and at this point he actually is picking up a creep lead. Yeah,
the thing with Ryze versus Ahri is Ahri's got a lot of creep pushing power with her orb, her Q damage. So against a Ryze, if you keep on pushing against him, he's got single target damage to clear it back, and he's going to be able to get pushed all the way to tower and just get denied a lot of creeps, because innately his auto attack doesn't do a lot. So for last hitting under tower, he's going to have to burn spells to get those creeps. So you do see Big Fat camping down bottom. Curse doesn't really know that she's there, so if they're not careful, she's going to be able to go on them and do some damage. However, Dragon did spawn and Curse was able to group up, so there is no point in Ahri being there.
Yeah, I would say that is another Dragon going to Curse. However, we do have the top turret going to get taken. You know, CLG knew that they can't fight for that Dragon, so they'll just go ahead and take this turret, trying to keep the goal a little even. However, Curse is going, the entire 5-man, going straight for this mid turret, and they're going to bring that down.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
So it's just at this point, Curse has a pretty good gold lead. They're about 3,400 ahead, and in terms of team fighting, they're going to be able to win. So what they want to do is they want to...
We do have Irelia jumping in on their team, not realizing that Nocturne had to back out there, and Ahri as well. So Irelia engaging, I don't think she realized that there was the full team there, so Voyboy just got taken out, kind of jumping in by accident there, I think. Chaucer getting caught out by that rune cage, going to get picked off as well. So, that Ryze snare just picking up extra kills where there wouldn't have been one otherwise.
Yeah, that was a good dredge line by St. Vicious, and then that was a good rune prison by Ryze as well. They're able to force Alistar to use that ult, and really at the point where Alistar uses ult, he's at 40% health anyways, and he does have level 1 ultimate, so it's not blocking a significant amount of damage, so they are still able to just burst through his ultimate and kill him under tower, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I mean, and so that was a very convincing fight there for Curse. They were able to take a turret, take a dragon, and pick up a couple kills. CLG was just not grouped, not ready to fight. And I think they're going to have to start, being ready for all of these to happen because Curse is just in that stage of the game where they're going and making plays happen.
Yeah, they're not super far ahead in terms of gold count, but they do have a significant lead that they have a little bit of leeway if they make a little bit bad plays that they can make up for that in terms of items. So right now, Curse, all they really need to do is not make major mistakes and they can press that advantage. And they're going to look to take down towers. They don't really want to fight split because they know that Irelia is going to be able to take out a lot of their players one-on-one. So it's more of going to be, hey, we need a group because we don't want to fight. We're stronger in a group too, So that's exactly what.
Nocturne getting caught out here, uses a spell shield, really well-timed spell shield there to stop that dredge line. However, we're gonna have the stun from Taric coming out. He's taking a lot of damage, getting focused down, caught out by 4 members of there. Irelia could not stay in help, so that wasn't, a dead Nocturne that couldn't be avoided. They're on strict Baron right now. Big Fat LP is pushing out to Taric, trying to do a little bit of poke damage on the side. Baron is jogging pretty quickly, and they do not have a spell shielders.
So CLG is trying to stop Baron, however, Kennen does have his ult up. He's able to go in and land it on 3-4 people. However, they didn't have the damage to follow up because they focused Ahri, and Ahri is able to get out. Because of all the focus on her, they burned all their CDs. They had nothing left for when Alistar and Corki went in there, and so CLG was actually able to pick up that.
They didn't pop that ultimate, and it's, the one problem with the Kennen ultimate is that it's a circle around Kennen. So if you want to find Kennen, suddenly it's not that hard.
Hey,
they were able to
let me
focus
drop
him
the
and burn
Skype
him
call
down.
and call you back because you're breaking up. You're sounding like a blunt right now. So just really quick, I'm gonna drop it and call you right back. Hopefully that fixes it. Hello?
Yeah, hopefully this sounds a little bit better. Is this working better now?
It's a little bit better. I think you're breaking out massively. I didn't want to cut you off, but it was like super robot, and then the game froze for me again too, so.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes Skype does some just really weird things where it doesn't play nice with XSplit.
Yeah.
However, hopefully it should be resolving in a couple seconds.
You definitely sound a lot better, but it was just a really, really bad play by Curse on Baron. They were just overcommitted, and they were able to get 3v5 by CLG because they were taken down low enough by Baron that they were about 60%, and they had burned all their spells onto Ahri and unable to kill her. So when Alistar and Corki did come around, they had nothing left, and they lost basically 2 people for nothing, and that closed the gold gap by about 2,000. And so at this point, CLG isn't too far behind, and they are a force that can be reckoned with once again. And it just goes back to when I said, Curse is ahead. They just need to not make bad plays and just play safe. They can make slightly bad plays actually, but it just can't be major plays. And the last fight was one of those major plays that they needed to not make.
Yeah, and we can see that I think a big part of that fight was that they were not ready for the damage Corki is doing right now. I mean, Corki's lane was losing, Alistar was getting picked off, so I mean, there's sort of like this mental association that, the bottom lane right now for Curse is stronger, but if you look at Corki right now, he does have, he did pick up those kills recently, but he does have 216 farm. He has picked up his Infinity Edge and his Zeal, so he's doing really substantial amounts of damage, and, especially with his true damage, coming from his passive. Corki's bringing a lot of hurt to the table.
Definitely, he was able to pick up those kills and actually catapult ahead of Graves in gold. Graves is about 500 to 1,000 gold in front of him. However, since he got those kills, he's able to pick up those sprees, and now he's just significantly stronger than Graves is. So definitely, Corki is a huge, huge threat right now. If they can't shut down Corki, he's gonna be able to just manhandle anything Curse throws at him.
Yeah, we did see that Ahri was forced to burn her ultimate in the mid right now to avoid a dredge line from Nautilus, so that is down for the next fight. They're going to want to be really careful about that.
I'm a little worried for Curse because they are deceptive. They think they're stronger than they are right now because just because they picked up every single dragon into this point, they're up 9-6. However, I don't think they're looking at the creep score. CLG has been keeping up despite losing lanes. especially on Corki bottom. One thing about Double If is he can be behind on bottom lane, but his CS will never be low, and that's definitely paying off this game. And so if Curse gets a little too overconfident like they did with Baron, they're going to lose out on the next fight and potentially snowball reverse in CLG's favor.
Yeah, we do see that they are going to try and go for this dragon. And it looks like CLG is going to just go straight to Baron, seeing if there's any potential action here. They are ward sweeping this, however, Curse is coming back up. So we could be seeing a big fight here at the Baron at any given, at any moment.
So CLG is ready for this fight, and they're able to engage before Curse is ready. Let's see if they can
pull this out here. Ahri's taking a lot of damage. They did jump onto Kennen. Nautilus is going to get focused down very quickly. Ryze, Taric dropping extremely low, and then Ryze getting picked off by that focused fire from Corki. Chasing Graves under the turret. He is going to go down here. In just a moment, I took an extra shot there from Corki. I think he was expecting a crit that he did not get. And then that is, again, 4 people down from Curse for just Irelia. And I think the problem was that they accidentally, tried to focus Ahri, tried to focus Irelia. Those are 2 people you don't want to focus because Ahri just ulted out of range, and suddenly all the stuff that they'd blown wasn't really good for much, and she was still able to come in and pick around the edges of the fight, adding her damage. So
the problem is whoever they focus, they gotta make sure that everybody focus them, and they can't move and they need to die, because if you focus somebody and you don't kill them and they're able to get away and come back into the fight and do damage, you have just burned all 3 seconds, and now they're returning damage, and if they are able to focus, they're going to be able to take out a couple of kills, and when your skills reset, it's not going to be as high as theirs. So just really good play by CLG. They knew that Curse wanted to walk through this brush to check Baron because they had cleared all the wards on Baron. So as far as Curse knows, CLG could be doing Baron, so they had to take the quickest route there. And the moment they walked into that ward, CLG was able to just do a quick hard engage and just dish out a lot of damage on everybody on Curse. So just very, very good timing, very good engagement by CLG.
See that they pulled this gold gap entirely to get a game, and I picked up a little missile 200 gold lead. So at this point, this is anybody's game.
I think CLG is ahead of them, as a matter of fact.
I say we do see them considering going for Baron. However, there is the lane getting pushed out by the entire team here from Curse, so they know absolutely this is going to happen. We might be having a repeat occurrence. And then we've got Nocturne popping out, landing on top of Kennen. However, Ryze unloading, doing incredible amounts of damage, picking up Nocturne almost immediately. However, Nautilus did go down as he walked into that. However, Ryze is able to shut down Corki, is able to shut down Irelia, and then Kennen is going to escape there. Ahri not able to land the second half of her Q. Kennen will survive. However, Ryze is dropping extremely low. Big Fat IP is chasing here. Ryze having to run, Kennen having to run. Alistar trying to follow up here. And I think this was kind of a bit of a even fight to some extent. Neither team is able to touch the Baron at this point.
Definitely Curse barely got out of that. If you look at three of their players, they're actually 1 or 2 hits from dead. Nautilus was very, very low. He could have died just from any type of damage. Kennen was low, Ryze was low. So it's one of those fights where both teams got so low that any team can come out ahead. And Curse definitely came out just slightly ahead of CLG. And it's a good indication of that right now. Although CLG, I feel, is still ahead, both teams, if they have the right engagement, they can just dish out a lot of pain on each other.
Yeah, we see that Irelia has picked up 2 giant belts, so she's just stacking up her hit points for these engagements to try and make it through them long enough to deal out all that damage and let her Heightened style just unleash every bit of true damage onto her soft, squishy targets.
Just to make sure, what's the timer on your stream? Is it 2740?
Yes.
Alright, good. The Riot client just keeps on crashing on me. It says unable to receive data.
I say we might need to do like a reboot in between these next games, depending.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna restart my computer. Hopefully it'll fix the client issue, because the client is massively cutting out on me.
So we've got both teams gathering again for this Baron. This is going to be a point of contention until someone gets it, I think. It looks like this time Curse might want to be the ones in the bush.
So Curse is ward sweeping, but they did miss a ward. Elements walked right past it, so not getting that ward might give CLG the vision they need to have an advantageous team fight. So let's see if they're gonna be able to pick this up, because as far as CLG knows, they know the exact position of Curse.
We've got Nautilus hooking that dredge line. We've got Ryze unleashing a lot of damage right now. However, Kennen is going to get focused, has to pop his Zanya's, barely still alive here. Ahri will pick him up with her ultimate. However, Graves does pick up Nocturne. Ahri does manage to pick up Nautilus. However, we've got Graves picking up that kill on Irelia. And then both teams are dropping extremely low. However, Corki does drop Graves. Ryze coming back around, not a very good move. Corki drops him super low. Ahri picks up that kill. And then Graves is trying to escape from this. However, Corki does manage to pick up that kill. And then there's the two survivors with an ace going down onto Curse right now.
The thing with that is that ward that I was talking about, the elements completely missed. It gave CLG the cue that Curse was coming into that and they're gonna engage and get the fight started. And so Alistar was able to get in front just because they didn't clear that ward. They knew exactly when Curse was coming, so there's no elements of surprise. So I just honestly feel if Curse was able to clear that ward and get a good or better jump, it would have been so much better than an ace for CLG.
And we do see that Corki's going to go ahead and Valkyrie out and try to escape. Kennen coming back through, going to eat a face full of damage and be forced to back away.
So CLG is going back. They knew they won that fight. They were able to stick the tower and the inhib. Had Corki had a little bit of mana, they actually would have turned on that Kennen and killed him as well. But they know that they're a Corki without mana is just significantly weaker. So they know to back up just in case if Curse was trailing behind them and looking for just a 5v2 fight. So CLG's just gonna go back out. I know they have a lot of gold and they're looking to buy, especially Corki with 2,000 gold. He's at 12,000 total, about 12,900, almost 13,000, way over 2,000 higher than the second highest. So just in any team fight, if Corki doesn't get shut down, he's gonna be able to decimate anybody on Chris's team.
Yeah, I mean, he is sitting pretty at 280 CS right now, which is a pretty substantial lead. We do see that Curse has picked up another dragon. They've had this consistency in picking up these dragons all game that, you know, is really what's keeping them in this game right now. So I definitely see, you know, they're putting a lot of extra focus on this middle lane, you know, trying to keep it pushed out to keep these super minions from pushing it into their base, because they want to keep that vision in that lane so that, you know, they can see, you know, around the Baron, you know, having that extra vision can be extra crucial in making sure that you start a fight right.
Honestly, at any point in the next team fight, if Corki dies first, Curse can just totally make a comeback and just probably just ace CLG. So if Curse is able to just get a really good focus onto Corki in the next fight, which will be hard because he does have a flash, he does have a QSS, so he's almost always going to be able to get out there. But if just by luck they're able to kill Corki very early, I can see this fight going well for CRS.
Alright, we do have Curse walking straight into a bush full of CLG. All the ultimates popping out, however, Graves dies the moment the fight starts. We've got Nocturne getting focused down, Kennen having to pop his Zanya's. We've got Taric taking a lot of damage, and then all those rocket barrages coming in from Corki of burning down Curse. Ryze trying to flash away, getting picked up, and then Kennen's just making a break for it to the side, and CLG's just pushing straight down the middle.
Just once again, just very good play by CLG. They had that entire area warded. They knew exactly when Curse was gonna face check into that brush. They know that there's no ward from CRS, so there's no way they would know. So just anytime a team has a jump, they're able to just lay out the first rotation of spells. So their second rotation is gonna come out first. So overall damage potential, the team that gets a good engage first is almost always gonna win.
We do have Graves picking up a shot on Corki, getting a shutdown for a massive boost in gold there, as they're going to chase CLG out. However, both of these turrets are down. They do manage to pick up a kill on Kennen and on Graves. However, Voyboy is not going to be able to make it out of here, barring a miracle. We do have the pop Irelia, and Voyboy is actually going to try and pick up a kill on Elements. Not going to get that, though. Where Big Fat IP is able to get out alive.
Oh, that game could have been over right there. Corki just got overzealous and he just Valkyried into Graves, thinking that he could kill Graves so fast that he's not going to be able to respawn. But you know, you got to remember, Corki and Graves are both bursty champions, and Graves was able to respawn in time and get that right click right off before him, and that was actually a crit on that first hit. So Corki just received way too much damage that at that point there's no point in running, and so he just Valkyried into his death.
We're just waiting on the respawn timers from Voyboy before both teams are able to move towards Dragon again, the Baron. And right now, you know, with both of their base turrets down, Curse is going to have to be extremely careful in this game. They're down by 8 turrets, and they really need to try and start making up that deficit. We can see that has opened up about a 3,500 gold lead for CLG, and again, they're just going to keep pressuring these fights around the Baron, and neither team can really afford to stray too far.
I think at this point, you know, the gold count is still relatively close. In terms of 3.5, 3.6k, 30-something minutes in the game, it's not that big, but CLG is continually able to outposition and outmaneuver Curse, so and they have no idea that this Baron's going down. So if CLG is able to get this Baron, it's going to give them that edge where they're going to be able to steamroll the next couple of fights, just walk down mid and end the game.
And they are going to pick up this Baron. Curse is nowhere in position to deal with this. Curse is kind of not sure where they're going right now. They're forming up in their base, but I think they've just pulled back to defend against what they didn't feel like fighting.
So this was probably be the last clash. If CLG wins this fight, there's really nothing to stop them from taking that Nexus down. So, you know, this is probably going to be the first fight where Curse isn't caught out of position. So, unfortunately, CLG does have Baron buff, so that's just thousands and thousands of gold in advantage of damage potential. So, let's see if Curse can manage against this onslaught coming down middle.
I mean, the real trick here is they're going to be trying to catch out Corki, trying to catch out Ahri, some form of damage, and take her out quickly. So, you know, I think of those choices, you know, Corki will be the better one. You know, he is doing more damage, and you know, he doesn't go quite as far. You know, once Ahri starts ulting, she can really clear a fight.
Yeah. So this damage, or this fight's hinging on Corki. Basically, he is the biggest damage in this game right now. So if Curse is, like I said earlier, if they're able to shut down Corki relatively early in the fight, they can potentially win it. If they are unable to, Corki is just going to be able to shut down everybody on Curse.
I say we do have Alistar knocking Kennen away. We do have a little bit of damage coming on the Nautilus, a little bit of a trade there between him and Ahri, but both of them are just, you know, both teams are just trying to land an initiation, and every time that they go for one, the other team will rebuff it.
You do see a lot of creep pressure up top, and so if they're able to stall off this and the creep does enough damage on that tower, they can actually take this inhib, swing top, and apply pressure that way as well.
I say the inhibitor is staying at an extremely low health right now, and so Curse just can't afford to leave it. So CLG is able to just leave this pressure on and just wait for any opportunity.
The thing with Corki and Ahri is they're the only one that's able to poke that inhibitor, and they're relatively short range auto attack champion, and so it's absolutely crucial that Corki does not get caught.
We've got Nocturne popping the ultimate. Looks like we have the commit here. Kennen is flashing into the middle of this team, doing a massive amount of damage and disruption. Ahri is getting dropped extremely low, actually getting taken down by that ignite. Then we do have the kill on Kennen and on Graves. Irelia managing to pick that up. Irelia also managing to bring down Taric. However, we've got a fight going here on top of Corki. Both Nautilus and Ryze came on top of him. However, Ryze is picked off as Irelia does come back into this fight. And, you know, Nautilus alone does not have the damage to try and fight this Irelia, you know, straight on. And I think this is going to be game.
This is definitely a game. Just, you know, the soonest person that's gonna res is Taric, and that's at 33 seconds. So it's just very, very well played by CLG. Despite the advantage from Curse throughout the entire game, they're able to make 3 really big plays and catching Curse out of position for the most part and just securing this victory.
I say that was a really well played comeback, and you know the way they did it was they just grouped up and took those fights and built those advantages. You know, they didn't make any big risky plays. They just looked for their opponents to make mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the entire game, Curse had a huge advantage in terms of team fighting potential, damage potential, but CLG was able to clear out their vision and get the first jump and get a better engage almost every single time. Every single time Curse walked into the brush, CLG was there to basically unload all their damage very quickly, and that happened about 3 times near Baron.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a big part of those Baron fights was not just that vision control, but how they took care of those initiations. They kind of waited for someone to get focused, either Corki or Ahri, and then that champion escaped while the other just stuck in and just dealt a lot of damage. And, so every time I saw someone on CLG would dip unbelievably low, and then they just clear the fight. Just They wouldn't even try to cast any spells to do damage. They would just run, and again and again, Curse kind of would get pulled out across CLG, and then they just get picked apart.
Yeah. So I am gonna play a quick commercial break and just check my settings because the disconnect during the spectator mode is absolutely killing me right now. So I'll be back in a quick commercial break.
Yeah, I'm also going to BRB, make sure I've got everything here set up, and I'm going to turn on some lights because the sun has set, so it has gotten a little bit dark in here.